Judge Arthur Inquiron's severe decision to reject Trump's request for a directed verdict, halting the case, marked a significant turn in the lawsuit brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James against former President Donald Trump. Judge Ingran, before whom 24 witnesses will testify, delivered a scathing critique of Trump's move to dismiss during the trial scheduled to end on January 11. He vented his anger at Trump for trying to ignore the matter again and again. The judge made it clear that, instead of getting bogged down in technicalities, he would concentrate on revealing the motion's fatal defects. The video will explain everything. Please subscribe and enable notifications so that you can begin receiving our daily breaking news updates before I continue. I appreciate it. Please. Judge Ingram did not waste any time in destroying the credibility of Professor Eli Bartov, Trump's expert witness, as was disclosed on December 19, 2023. Because it presupposed that Bartov's assertions were true and correct, Gorin threw doubt on his evidence. Gorin focused on the enormous $1 million charge paid to Bartov, implying that such a large figure could easily sway specialists' opinions. In a ruling that favored the paying party, the judge stressed that Bartov's testimony is unreliable because of his persistent defense of inaccurate financial status declarations, regardless of his prominent academic position. Next, Gorin turned his attention to an argument Trump had made, which he criticized as an effort to find an excuse to avoid punishment. Trump cannot avoid responsibility for his alleged fraudulent acts, the judge made it plain, and he would not stand for such tactics in his courtroom. According to him, closure alone is completely false. A lawsuit filed before the deadline supposedly rendered claims made after the time limit unchangeable. Finalizing the case did not absolve future false claims from further examination, the judge stated forcefully, arguing that this assumption ran counter to Executive Law Section 6312 and the philosophy of the law of the case. The court also rejected claims regarding the power of the Attorney General, ignoring them as irrelevant. Gorin disputed Trump's assertion that the lenders were unharmed, arguing that inflating asset values could unfairly benefit lenders who relied on false information and thought the risks were lower. Gorin refuted Trump's claims about the subjective nature of valuations and the limited scope for punishment only in cases of serious deviations. While valuations may be subjective, he clarified, the situation of fraudulently inflating property prices was far more serious than a disagreement over reasonableness. Additionally, the judge looked into Trump's habit of stressing disclaimers. In response to Trump's allegation that the disputed words served as disclaimers shielding him from responsibility, and Gorin said that it was actually the policy of the issuer, Masser, to guarantee the veracity of the remarks. Reportedly, Trump voiced his disapproval of the result, highlighting the weight of Judge Gorin's rejection of Trump's motions to dismiss the case. New York Attorney General Letitia James is currently leading the fraud trial, and the rejection of Trump's attempts to halt the proceedings is a significant step forward in the legal process. In essence, Judge Inquiron's painstaking demolition of Trump's legal strategies was on full display as the fraud trial against him advanced. The judge's order lays bare Trump's position by dissecting it point by point, what he sees as the case's fatal weaknesses in its defense. As former President Donald Trump addressed the waiting media outside the courtroom after leaving, he launched a vicious attack on the sitting judge, dramatically altering the course of this high-profile legal case. As Trump became a polarizing figure in American politics, tensions rose. Expressed his displeasure with the events. The conservative brief from Tuesday, December 19, 2023 states as follows: the former president's outburst at Judge Rebecca Anderson took an unexpected turn in the trial, which centers on accusations of financial wrongdoing during Trump's commercial endeavors. Trump accused the judge of being biased and treated unfairly, accusing the trial of being politically motivated and a premeditated attack on his character. On this matter, what is your opinion? Please share your thoughts and opinions in the space provided below. Many reporters were waiting for Trump to comment on the events of the day as he left the courthouse. Without holding back, Trump launched into a vicious attack on Judge Anderson. Trump strongly asserts that Judge Anderson's bias against him influenced her decisions. In the presence of his legal staff, Trump made a daring declaration. I refused to take part in this deceitful trial, so I stormed out of the courtroom. This judge has been openly biased throughout. A witch hunt is the simplest way to describe it. Both the general public and political analysts are engrossed in the trial since many see it as a crucial investigation of Trump's financial transactions. By highlighting their client's claim that he is the victim of a partisan attack, the former president's legal team has persistently attempted to cast the case as politically driven. As Trump and Judge Anderson argued on a number of issues, the atmosphere in the courtroom became increasingly tense. Judgment is based on evidence. According to legal experts, these conflicts reached a critical stage, which prompted Trump to decide to pull out of the proceedings altogether. Some have hypothesized that this change would affect the defense's narrative strategically. Reactions were pouring in as word spread about Trump's sudden exit from the courtroom. From all corners of the political spectrum, neighbors rushed to their aid. The former president echoed his claims of unfairness, while his detractors accused him of plotting evil. Renowned legal experts interjected in a way that weakened justice itself. Constitutional law expert Professor Sarah Mitchell, aghast at the audacity of Trump's public criticism of the court, gravely stated that it is extremely rare for a defendant to publicly criticize a judge while a trial is still on. This can have consequences that are unrelated to the matter at hand, discrediting our esteemed legal system in the eyes of the general population. Despite the turbulent environment, the trial will proceed regardless of Trump's presence. Defying claims that the charges are politically motivated, the prosecution maintains its stance based on evidence. Everyone in the country is waiting impatiently for the trial to conclude as this judicial showdown plays out. It symbolizes the incessant tensions around Trump's legacy. It remains to be seen whether Trump's bold move to openly challenge the trial and its respected judge will have any impact on the proceedings, or if it will simply be viewed as a contentious episode in his lengthy legal battles. Notable Republican senators conspired behind Trump's back, and he suffered a fatal heart attack. Republicans in the Senate are trying to put some distance between themselves and former President Trump in the wake of his latest contentious comments made at a Hampshire rally. The Hill reported on Trump's remarks made on Tuesday, December 19, 2023. He has come under fire from members of his own party for saying that the influx of thousands of immigrants into the United States every day is a poison to our nation's blood. Senator Thom Tillis, a prominent figure in the leadership group of Senate conservative leader Mitch McConnell, voiced his concern about what he perceived as superfluous rhetoric. Tillis stated that he believes the mentioned rhetoric is unnecessary. Amid heightened political division, Republicans are becoming increasingly anxious about the potential repercussions of partnering with such controversial language, as seen in Tillis's remark. Another senior member of the Senate GOP leadership, Shelley Moore Capito, also distanced herself from Trump's comments. She said it with all her might. "You can see I don't agree with that. It is crucial to bring attention to the fact that the United States of America was founded by immigrants." While acknowledging her lack of clarity, Capito went on to label Trump's comments as campaign rhetoric. "Our ancestors came from other countries," she stressed. "Apparently, it's all part of his campaign speech. I am uncertain. My mind is blank." Capito noted that Senate Republicans are perplexed by Trump's rationalization of Russian President Vladimir Putin's critique of the American political system in light of the 91 counts of crimes against him in Washington, his duties at home in Miami, and New York. She distanced herself from Trump's policy of mentioning Putin, saying, "I can't be responsible for what he says," to contest the legitimacy of the charges against him. On this matter, what is your opinion? Please share your thoughts and opinions in the space provided below. Even more extreme was Senate conservative whip John Thune, the number 2 ranking Republican in the Senate, who said that Trump's statements had become intolerable. While acknowledging the serious public safety concern posed by the influx of migrants crossing the southern border, he disagreed with the notion, stating that his grandfather had been an immigrant. Swiftly made it clear that he disagreed with Trump's depiction of immigrants as a threat to the nation's health. Being a hospitable nation while still enforcing law and order is crucial, he emphasized. Although the United States is a country that welcomes immigrants, Thune argued that strict enforcement of immigration laws is of the utmost importance. His main point was that President Biden was doing little to stop the influx of illegal migrants. Quickly asserted, "We must not stand by and watch while lawlessness increases along the southern border. That's insane. Totally bonkers." The provocative comments made by Trump have put Republicans in the Senate on the defensive and provided President Biden and other Democrats with political ammo. Recently, a spokesman for the Biden-Harris campaign took the chance to slam Trump, saying that the president mimicked his role models. Adolf Hitler, who ran for president promising to impose a dictatorship and undermine American democracy, lauded Kim Jong-un and referenced Vladimir Putin. The veracity of information spread about the truth is called into question by Trump's unfounded claim of falsely identifying someone in a courtroom photograph, a social media platform that was recently founded by the former president. The misidentification refers to Trump's unwavering stance. Misinformation continues to be a major problem because of its power to influence public opinion, even when there is abundant proof to the contrary. While the trial progresses, claims of fraud and the Trump Organization's complex financial maneuvers continue to capture the public's attention. While we wait, feel free to leave a comment with your opinions. Give this video a big thumbs up if you thought it was helpful. The Supreme Court judgment dashes all hope of Trump running for president in 2024. In this little video, I'll tell you all you need to know. To begin receiving our daily breaking news updates, simply subscribe and enable notifications. I appreciate it. Please. Donald Trump, the former president, has two apparently conflicting requests from the Supreme Court. He is requesting that the Supreme Court codify Nixon's long-standing defense of an obscure surveillance program as a constitutional shield for sitting presidents. He also wants the court to drag its feet. The court wasted no time in approving his plan and telling him to get ready to sit out the 2024 presidential race. The United States Supreme Court is currently considering a novel Trump motion to dismiss the federal criminal case arising from his incredibly sluggish effort to steal the 2020 election. Trump Asset is the entity in question. On the other hand, the chief prosecutor in two federal criminal proceedings against Trump, special counsel Jack Smith, essentially requested that the Supreme Court do the exact opposite of what Trump had requested on Monday. In Smith's view, Trump should not be exempt from charges of conspiracy to conduct electoral fraud, and the Supreme Court should rule as much. He is requesting that the court act swiftly. There will certainly be more cases involving Trump's criminal charges that make it to the Supreme Court. This one is just the first, though. The court's announcement on Wednesday that it will hear a new case involving one of the intruders on January 6, 2021, might cast doubt on the accusations leveled by President Trump. No sitting president has ever been indicted, and neither has a president whose party is expected to nominate him for re-election to the presidency. Without answers from the Supreme Court, the new legal concerns raised by the litigation against Trump, many of which concern the First Amendment, will remain unanswered. Trump could potentially evade justice quickly. The reason Trump is attempting to prolong this lawsuit for as long as possible is easy to grasp. Trump has a good chance of winning the 2024 presidential election if he can postpone his criminal trials until after the election. If he does, he can use his presidential power to temporarily halt the prosecutions. While this appeal is being considered, the criminal trial of Trump for election theft is currently on pause. Justice Smith explained to the U.S. Supreme Court, the question of whether Trump is immune from prosecution might put that proposal on hold. Is Trump exempt from prosecution for crimes committed while in office? That is the very point Smith is now requesting the court to address. Due to the involvement of document retention following Trump's departure from office, Smith's additional complaint against the president, which is distinct from the present one and concerns the theft of sensitive documents, may proceed. However, Judge Aileen Cannon will also be handling the document case. A Trump appointee who has taken on the role of Trump's personal lawyer. Therefore, Smith may have little choice but to pursue charges of electoral fraud in order to bring charges against the former president. On top of the two federal cases, Trump is now facing criminal allegations in Georgia and New York State. The justices may alter Smith's schedule, according to early indications. The justices approved Smith's motion to proceed with the case just hours after she urged them to make a swift decision on Trump's request for immunity. Because it is simply a preliminary order, the Supreme Court has not yet decided whether or not to consider this matter. Judges seldom move swiftly even when a trial is planned. The Supreme Court is expected to issue a ruling on election theft soon. The president's feeble legal reasons presented in the present litigation before them have likely prompted the justices to interfere in several of Trump's criminal prosecutions before this, despite not convincing the majority of the court. There is a grave danger that Trump will not face trial for his acts unless the Supreme Court promptly decides all of these issues. So, the Supreme Court is considering what legal matter? Smith's latest move in the Trump case raises two interconnected legal questions. First, whether Trump enjoys absolute immunity from federal prosecution for crimes committed while in office, and second, whether the double jeopardy clause of the Constitution would shield Trump from prosecution due to his impeachment proceedings. In order to reverse the 2020 election, but with the support of the vast majority of senators. I really appreciate you sticking around until the very end. Share your thoughts on this news story in the comments, and if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Until our next news, take care. May the United States of America be blessed for all eternity. So long.